Hi guys, I hope you're doing great. So in the previous video we had reached till here where we created a positioned widget for the in this text. So now we have to create two more position widgets for beaching and for house, and then we'll start working on our box here, and then we'll start working on the login button right now. So let's get started. So where we were at here, so we have to find the bracket for positioned. So this is the bracket, and here I need to put a comma. I need to start with another positioned widget. So it will have a child, but first we need to give it some top and left. So we say from top it's 130, and from left it's 30, and for which is basically the same as our the, but it's just a little more. From top we have to give 30 more points, because as you can see beaching is below the, right? So we have to give 30 more points here from top, and from the left the spacing will be the same, it will be 30, and here we'll say child, and again it will be fade animation. And side fade animation, here we'll say 1.6 comma, and then again the same drill, we'll create a container just like we did here out here. The container will have a margin which we'll say edge insets dot only, and from top it's 0, from left it's 40 comma child center, and we'll have a child, but I'll put this on a different line so that everything will make more sense. So here we'll say child is equal to text, just like out here, right? Child center and then child text, and text is a widget, as you know, in Flutter. So the text is beaching in our case, right? And then we'll apply some style. So we'll say text style, and the color will be the same, so we'll say colors is colors dot white. So I'm sorry, here it's just color and colors dot white. Here we'll say we'll give it a font size of 30, which is exactly the same as before, and we'll give it a font weight of bold, just like we did here, and we'll just close this bracket. So we have closed all of our brackets, but it seems like there's one more bracket to be closed, or not, maybe, not sure. So I'll put a comma here, and here it's expecting something, expected to find a closing bracket, not sure why, but anyhow, for now let me just go through all the brackets that have been closed. I think this is closing bracket is not required. Yes. So we have the position bracket, and we have our center, text, and text style, and we have 4 errors, right? And all the 4 errors are coming from this fade animation. So we have 4 squiggly lines below fade animation. So we know that we have not written the fade animation file yet. So that's why we have those errors. Now, after the positioned widget, we want to create another position widget for this text called house, right? So I'll say comma, and I'll say positioned again, and so yeah, we could have easily copied this whole positioned widget and pasted it here, but you can do that as well if you want. But what I'm doing is I'm going through the entire code again, so that you can practice along with me, and you'll get very used to the syntax of Flutter. So here, as you can see, we had given for the text we had given top 100. For beaching we gave it 130, and for house, we're giving it 160. All right, because it makes sense, because this is 160 points below from the top, right? It has that kind of spacing. And here we'll say child, and child again is fade animation. Now this syntax of Flutter can get very confusing sometimes to people, right? Because there are these widgets one after the other. So you just need to practice so much that you get very used to and very comfortable with how the widgets work in Flutter. So here we'll say 1.6 and then we'll say comma container. Inside container we'll give it a margin again of edge and sets dot only, and from top 0 and left 40, just as before, right? Because it's going to be directly under it. And here we'll say child and center. Sorry, it has a child property, but I'll take it on the next line so that everything looks better. And here we'll say text, the text widget, right? Exactly as here. And here we'll say house comma style text style. Inside text style we'll say colors dot white comma font size. Now, since this is a beginner friendly tutorial, I'm going through every single line, but if it wasn't, if it was an intermediate or an expert tutorial, I would have just copy pasted all these positioned widgets, right? So I'm just taking you through everything. Like for example, text style is a widget which has color property and it has font size, and that's how we are defining the font size for house, the text called house, right? And here we'll have font weight, and it'll be font weight dot bold, and I don't think we need to close because it's already closed. So we have 5 errors, as you can see, and all of them are because of the fade animation file. And now everything looks ordered and structured. So now we're done with the positioned elements. So we're done with all of these elements. In just a minute, I'll just switch on my phone so that you can. Yeah. So we're done with all these positioned elements. So we're done with this, and these two positioned elements as well, right? Now we want to come out of this container, right? This entire container, and we want to create another container. In the sense, we want to now start focusing on this, right? This whole thing. So this whole thing is basically a these two are, as you know, these are inputs, right? Text fields, both of these, but they're part of a column, so they're children of a column. So the first children, we'll call this, let's say, email or phone number, and the second one is called password. So these two will be inside, these two will be separate children inside a container, right? And sorry, I mean that this is a container, this is a container, and these two are separate children inside a column, and that's how I think we have to plan this. And then we'll have some padding, so we'll have padding all across. So as you can see, there's about 30 points of padding across here, and then there's space between here and space between this and the login button as well. So we need some padding all across. So that's how we'll approach it. So we'll have a padding widget. Inside that we'll have a column widget, and inside that column we'll have children, and those children will be basically this and this. So that's how we're planning it, right? So let's get started, and then so let's get started with this, and then let's think about the login button later on. So I'll come here, I'll put a comma on the container, and I'll say the widget padding. So everything in Flutter is a widget, right? So even if you want to add padding, you'll create a padding widget itself, which has a property called padding, and we'll say edge and sets dot all 30,0, and here we'll add a child. We'll say column, and we'll say children. We'll put a widget, and here we'll put again our fade animation. Here we'll give it a value of 1.8, and then like I mentioned, we'll have to have a container. The container itself will have some padding, so we'll say edge and sets dot all 5, comma, and decoration is box decoration. And as you can see, the color is black of this box, right? So we'll say on the next line, we'll say colors dot black. All right, and we'll give it a border radius, dot circular, and we'll give it a radius of 10. And let's give it a box shadow as well. So we'll give it a color dot from RGBO, say 143, 148, 251.2, we'll have to blur the shadow as well. This box shadow, we'll have to blur it as well after giving it a whitish kind of a color. So we'll say blur radius is 20.0 and some offset is 0, 10, and so there seems to be an issue because I didn't enclose this in a yeah, so I'll have to say box shadow and this box shadow is actually B capital. Inside this box shadow you'll have, so we'll close it like this, and outside this we'll have our stack closer or our square bracket, and then after that is obviously our box decoration. So this was the entire box decoration. So we'll put a comma after our box decoration, and now we'll start working on the columns, right? So we'll say comma child column, and here we'll say children widget, and inside these square brackets we'll first have a container, and here we'll have our padding with edge and sets dot all 8.0, decoration box decoration border we'll add a bottom border, so border side colors dot gray dot shade 100, right? And Now in our border after our box decoration, which is here, we have to put a comma, and we'll have to start giving our text fields. So we'll say child text field. So our text field, the first text field has the text, email or phone number, right? So we'll say decoration input decoration border input border dot none comma and text input border, sorry, the hint text will be email or phone number, comma, hint style will be text style, and color will be colors dot gray 400. Okay, so this will be the color, which is almost like a white but it's light gray. So you can either give shades or you can give like this gray 400. All right, and now after the input decoration we have text field and container, and after the container we'll have another container for our password, right? So we have these two are containers inside a column inside a container which is inside padding, right? So now we'll have our container which has a padding value of, sorry, a padding value of edge insets dot all 8.0 comma child text field and decoration input decoration, very similar to this, you know, the one above. You'll have a border input border dot none and a hint text which will be password, and hint style will be text style color dot colors dot gray 400, exactly the same as before, no changes here. Oops, sorry. Yeah, so all looks good. We have only 6 errors, like as you can see, and all of them have been caused by our fade animation. And don't worry about that right now, we'll work on that as well. So after our fade animation, so we now have to find the fade animation widget bracket, and after that we have to add our size box for our login page, or for our login button, sorry. So again, my phone has closed, so I'll just open it. So now we are done with these, right? And we're done with this as well, email and password both. And now we need to start working on our login button. And for that, like I said, we have to find our fade animation bracket, which seems to be somewhere around here. I don't know why the name is not correct though. It's column padding. It should have been called fade animation. Maybe it's this, not sure. So in my case, at least I found my fade animation bracket. Even though there's something wrong with my plugin, it's not showing me that's the fade animation bracket, but I can still see it that, okay, this is, you know, when I click on this, I can see that this is the closing bracket for the fade animation, right? So I took it on the next line. So I found for myself, and you need to, probably in your case it would be showing fade animation, or if it's not showing then you have to find it, because this is for the widgets, right? And this is for the column, and this is for the container, this container, and then the one after that has to be fade animation, right? So for this fade animation, after this we need to create our sized box, and we need to start working on our button. So let's create a sized box, and we'll say height is 30, comma, we'll stick it on the previous line, and here we will say fade animation to, comma, container of height 90, actually we'll go to height of 50, and then we'll give it a decoration, box decoration, and a border radius, border radius dot circular, value of 10, and now we have to give it a gradient. So we have given it a border radius for this box, the height is 50, and now we have to give it a gradient, right? So when you actually look at the code and you look at the button form, button actually, you can relate very easily. Similarly with this, right? So we have email and phone number here and password here. It's both of these, as you can see, are containers. These two are containers. They're inside another container, right? And which is inside a column, and the column has padding around it everywhere. So now we need to start giving the gradient, as I said. So we'll say gradient. So the gradient value that I got, I've got it from a website CSS called CSS Gradient. You can go there and create your own gradients, but here, for the sake of this video, I've actually saved your time. I've created the gradient already from the website. And like I said, you can always go to that website CSS Gradient and create your own gradients. So we'll say from RGBO. So a gradient can have one value or two values, from the two, and then it could have three values also, three different colors. So in my case, the gradient that I've created has three different values. So we'll say 131, 58, 180, 1. So this entire color is the first color value. Like I said, you can have just one color in a gradient where you just move between the brightness and darkness of that color. You can control that with this, right? The brightness and darkness. Or you can have the between two different colors, or you can have it between three different colors. So in our case, we have it between three different colors. So here I'll give this value to 53, 29, 29, 1, and I'll say color dot from RGBO. I'll say 252, 176, 69, 1. I'll just put a comma here for better formatting. So if you're new to Flutter, you would know that you probably might not know that if you just put a comma, it'll just format it well for you, in the sense it'll start the next thing on a separate line. So that's why we put commas in Flutter. And now we have our box decoration. So after our box decoration is where we want to put our comma. I'm not sure if this is the box decoration bracket. I think this is the box decoration bracket. So linear gradient and box decoration. And after this I want to start my center widget as a child. So I'll say child text, and the text, as you know, is login because it's the login button that we're building right now. And we can now give it a style, so we'll say text style, and we'll say colors dot white, comma, font weight dot bold. So that's that with this text style. And after our fade animation bracket, which I think is this, as we have center container, yeah, this should be the fade animation bracket. So after this we'll put a comma, and we'll put another side boxed, and the reason for that is we need to do something about our forgot password, right? So we'll create another sized box with a height of 30, and we'll put a fade animation widget here. Inside that, give it a value of 1.5, comma, text. The text will be, as you know, forgot password, question mark, and we will have to give it a style, color dot from RGBO 143, 148, 251, 1. And this again is our fade animation, and I think that's all actually that we need to work on. But we'll just put a comma here anyways. And Flutter has again formatted everything for us. And now it's our turn to work on the fade animation, right, which has been hanging around for quite a while. And like I said, you know, fade animation is the file where you can copy and paste this. Once I put this code on GitHub after I've completed this project, you can just copy and paste it simply into your project, or you can build it from scratch with me. But this file, in the upcoming many videos, this file will exactly be the same. It'll stay untouched. So if it confuses you, don't worry, because it's actually going to be the same in all of the files, right? And what we need to be using here is the simple animation package that we had installed in the previous video. And we'll say enum, we'll start with this animation type, opacity. So we can either animate using opacity, or we can translate X in the sense which basically means movement on the X-axis. And here we'll have class fade animation extends. Actually, instead of writing it manually, I'll just create a stateless widget, you know. Yeah. I mean, I don't think we should actually do everything from scratch. So I'll just say stateless again, and I'll give it a name called fade animation. And here we need to have two variables, final double delay and final widget child. Okay, and what I'll do is I'll just remove this and say this dot delay and this dot child in our constructor, and then everything looks good. And here we have our widget which takes build, and now this returns, it doesn't return a container, it returns something called as a play animation. So what I'll do is I won't work on it right now, and I'll actually work on the animations, which is called tween. So we'll say multi tween of type animation type, and we'll say animation dot type is opacity, animation type dot opacity, comma tween, and it begins at 0.0, it ends at 1.0, and we'll have to define the duration of the animation. We'll say milliseconds. It's 500. This is a very simple, very basic animation. And let's add another animation type. Like, you know, we have to add the translate X as well, so we'll say dot add, and it's another animation type. It's dot translate X, comma tween begins and ends at 1.0, and the duration will be 500 milliseconds again. And here we'll just put a semicolon. So now we have to return, like I said, we won't be returning a container, we'll be returning a play animation. And here we'll put multi tween values, and it'll have, we have type animation type, and in here we'll have delay, duration, milliseconds would be 500 multiplied by the delay, duration will be tween dot duration, tween is tween, child is child, and we'll have a builder property context, comma child, comma value, which will have the opacity. Here we'll say opacity value.get, child transform dot translate, and give it an offset translate X, comma 0, and child. So if this file doesn't make any sense to you, do not worry, this file will be exactly the same for all most of our upcoming tutorials, at least the next 5 to 10. The file won't change, even a single value in the file won't change, because it's basically a very simple type of animation that we're basically adding to our file. That's all we're doing. It's a simple function. So now what we have to do is we actually have to import our file here, and I can see there are a lot of errors on top. Not an issue. Don't be scared if you're a developer. Don't be scared of errors. So we'll say import and package login UI. Sorry, the name of our project is login new test. Yeah, so that's what you have to give the name of the project, and slash animation folder and slash fade animation dot. So now that we've added the package here, many of the squiggly lines disappear. But here, as we can see, there are a lot of errors still. So we have to work with those. So it says that package simple animations, it's not there, whereas we had added it in our pubspec YAML file. So let me go ahead and check. Yeah, simple animations was added by us, so it should have access to it. So there's one error, and then it says there's another error out here. Name source files using roller case with underscores. Okay, yeah, so the issue here is because we have to use curly braces instead of round brackets. So that gets rid of some errors. And then we have an error here for multi-tween, our multi-tween values. So we have play animation and multi-tween values, animation type. What's it saying? It's saying this error I'm not so sure about. So it can't be used. Multi-tween values is not a type. Yeah, so I think a lot of the errors are coming here just because of the multi-tween. And I'm trying to inspect the issue, and it'll take me about a minute or so. So I have found a possible issue here where I think there's a space added by mistake here while importing. So I just removed that space, and two of the errors, they disappear. And yeah, and one more issue. Now you can see that all the squiggly lines are here in this area, and that's probably because I've not added a colon here. And once I do that, all of the errors, they disappear, right? So everything looks good now, and that means there's only one error in main.dart. Now let's try and assess why that could. So here the issue could be possibly because there's a space here and there's no semicolon here in our main.dart file when we are importing this package. And now, as you can see, all the errors have gone away. All that's left now to do is to open up the phone and close this app, and then run this program so that we come to know if something is not working in this app, right? Which I'm pretty sure that it would be the case, in the sense things probably might not work in this app that we just built. So what we'll do here is we'll say Flutter. Oh yeah, first we have to run Flutter doctor to just see if everything is working and if our phone is connected, and all of the there are no errors basically. So it says no issues found. Perfect. So now we'll say Flutter run, and this will take a while for the program to run. And I think what I'll do is I'll just stop recording and then I'll start recording, just to ensure you don't end up wasting your time. So the issues it's giving me, as you can see in my terminal, the app is working, but it's saying unable to load on any of these assets, right? So we don't have those circles and backgrounds and all of those images. We don't have them. So that means we need to get those images, right? So I'll tell you where I got those images from, so you can also download the same. So if you go to Canva, and let me just check if everything is recording. Yeah. So if you go over to Canva, and if you go over to, let's say, create a design, for example, right, a presentation, and all you have to do is go to elements and go for graphics, and in graphics you click on graphics, this category, and here you search for circle. And so I got these circles from these, like these kind of circles basically. Those are what I exported from Canva. Right, so you'll find the exact circles that I used. You can easily find them. You can easily find them right here. So this is the background image, right? And by the way, I'll be leaving this code in GitHub, so you don't have to scramble for these images anyways, but I'm telling you where to find these images. So if you, let's say if you find images like these, right, they don't have any background, and all you have to do is you have to download them, and without any background basically. You can easily do that in Canva. And since if you don't have a pro account, you might not be able to export them as without background images, but you can take a trial for the pro account whenever you want to download images without background, so it's not an issue. So anyhow, so that's how I got those images. So what I'll do now is I'll actually copy and paste the images from another project, the one that I've already done, so that we could build this. And I'm going to copy and paste them here, all these images. And now if I go head over here, and if I press capital R, which performs hot restart, it should now be able to fetch images, but again it's saying unable to load these images, assets, images. And now I'm not sure. I think we have to call it circle 1, and we have to call it circle 2, right? It's over there in assets/images, backgrounds.png. Now if we try and see what happens. And now if you look at the app, everything works perfectly. We were able to get all those files of the images, and we have our input boxes, we have our login button, we have our text, we have our forgot password text, and everything works perfectly, right? The whole app, we've been able to successfully develop the whole login UI of this app. So do say subscribe to this channel, because we'll be building such awesome UI almost on a daily basis. And thanks a lot for watching, and see you in the next episode.